You guys see that? You can see the scuff where it grabbed. Luckily it threw it instead of grabbing it. But yeah, that's my bad. I wasn't paying attention to my cable.
What would you do with a brain if you had one?
Hey, so welcome back to Clint Street Machines. In this one, we're going to build a rear differential housing. As you saw, we got those trees cut down, and I just still have to go out there and chop them all up and dispose of them. I'll do that over the weekend, but we were able to get this housing built this week, and I want to share that with you guys. But a few things happened this week. Sewer pipe break in the basement and spray poop water everywhere, so I had to fix that. The stepdaughter's 500,000-mile Honda didn't start the other day at work, so I had to go tow that home and diagnose it. And that just needs a starter, so we're going to fix that. And I think that's all that really happened. Yeah, that's about it. I was supposed to work on Dallas's hood because he was going to come through this weekend. But because I got delayed by those other things, I didn't get a chance to work on it. So his event got canceled, which sucks for him, but it's good for me. It buys me a little more time to work on that hood. But today we're going to focus on this guy. As you can see, it's done. And we're going to go ahead and show you guys how we got there. Now, understand a couple things. This is going to be a long video. And there's probably going to be more than one. And it's because I've never done this before. This is my first attempt at putting a rear diff together. So I need to share every step of the way with you guys because there were mistakes made. I want to share my thought process going through it. Definitely, if a professional that just built these things all day, every day was doing it, could have knocked this thing out in a couple hours probably and made a real quick little video about it and been simple and easy. No problem. But that's not what we do here. Simple and easy is not our style. So after agonizing over the measurements and the angles and making sure I thought of everything I could possibly think of as far as things moving when you weld them and everything else, we came up with a system. We got the thing built, and I think it's good to go. There's one mistake on it that I made, and it's purely cosmetic. So I'm not going to point it out because I want to see if you guys can figure it out. You probably won't figure it out from the video, but once the truck's put together, then it might be more obvious. All right, so the point of my channel has always been to, what are my three words I use? Inspire, motivate, and educate, right? Now, when I say educate, I don't mean I know more than you. I mean, I'm learning to do this stuff. I have knowledge of how to do this stuff, but knowing how to do something and actually doing it are often two different things. And there are mistakes made along the way. So I include those mistakes in these videos because that's part of the educational process, right? When I learn, you can learn. And even if I don't learn something, you may see something in the video and be like, oh, I got a better way of doing that. Well, that's all part of education, right? The other thing is motivation. I've never done anything like this, and I'm sure a lot of you out there haven't either. So the fact that I'm doing it will hopefully motivate you to attempt to do things out of your comfort zone as well. And the same thing goes with inspiration. It's the same thing as motivation, kind of. They go hand in hand, right? So trying to inspire you guys to get out in the garage and work on your stuff and not be afraid to mess it up or be afraid if it comes out wrong or if you've got to redo something. I already threw away a pair of frame rails. It happens. So anyway, kick back, watch the video. If you haven't subscribed yet, go ahead and do that. That helps the channel out immensely. And I hope you enjoy this. And check back soon. Part 2 should be right on the heels of Part 1. And I don't know if there's a Part 3 or not. It just depends on how far I can chop everything down. So anyway, thanks a bunch for checking in. And yeah, let's get on that housing. All right, well, we've got an initial mock-up done as far as the placement of our ladder bar brackets. I just got to clean the rust off of this housing wherever I'm going to be doing some welding and then get it set up to do the welding. And while the ladder bars are off, I'm going to verify that I made them the correct lengths and that I've got the right amount of hangout on my rod ends and all that stuff. Make sure they are identical as far as their mounting locations so that when I go to square all this stuff up, I know that I can measure to those points. All right, so what I'm checking for here is I want to make sure that these brackets are level to the front edge of this housing, which I can't check right now because I got it face down, but I'm going to assume this is level to the front. I will double check it before I finalize anything, but in order to get these tacked on, I'm going to make sure that's level, so these are the correct orientation in this direction. And then I'm going to tack them right here in the center. I'll show you that later, and I'll explain why at that point. So right now I'm just setting it up, getting these brackets where they need to be, and making sure this all looks like it's level. Whoops. I kind of missed it. Oh well. This should be 0.5. That's interesting. Okay. 0.1 down. 0.5 down. Not even close. 0.3 down. So yeah, they're way off from each other, which should be exactly 20 inches apart center to center. They're actually a little wider than 20 inches center to center. All right, so this one is tested accurate. I went through all my straight edges. Turns out they weren't all exactly the same. All right, so we're gonna lay that on there, put that mark right there. And if everything's straight, this one should land on the 30, and it does not. It's 30 and a 16th. So what if I come out here? 30 and a quarter. So they're too far apart. I'm going to have to do them again. Now, let's get back to measuring to the center. See if it's just one bracket that's off or both. All right. We're going to use this tool again. And if we're trying for exactness here, then we need to be exact. Okay. Slightly farther from this one to the center than from this one to the center. All right, so I've located this one properly from the center of the housing. I'm just going to do the whole thing over again and work on the front side. Using the back for reference didn't line things up correctly, so we're going to do it again. So the straight edge across there, we've got 0.5 up. If I come over here, I've got this adjusted. We are 0.5 up. So now all I got to verify. I kind of know it's pretty much a right angle because it's got the magnets holding it. But now I just got to make sure that we didn't move when I was rotating it to get the level correct. That didn't change the distance. So let's go ahead and measure that. And it should be 9 3/8 to this dot I have on this tool. And it is exactly 9 3/8. Okay, so that one is good. Let me tack that in. We're checking a couple spots because it may not be perfectly flat in the center. It looks like it's between 0.4 and 0.45. Okay, 0.4, 0.4. We're going to call that good. That one's coming. Yeah, of course it's a 0.4. But it's too far this way, so we got to tear that one off and move it, which kind of sucks. But hey, it ain't the end of the world. Yeah, it's got to come over a full 3/32 to the inside. I'll worry about how square that is later. Let's go ahead and get this knocked off. There we go. That looks pretty good. Throw a second magnet down here. All right, guys, let's share this stuff with you. So we're looking for 9 3/8 at that blue dot. So it could come in like a half of a 32nd, like a 64th. Be perfect. If we line up the other side, you can see. Where's the damn camera? Camera being off really messes with your head, but 9 3/8 is almost perfect on that one. Coming this way. It's just a little past it, so it's got to go back out just a hair. So you can see from that line, we moved it quite a bit, so I got to move it back out. Like I was saying, it's about a 30 seconds off, so that's what we're farting around with right now. We are dead nuts at 9 3/8 now. Now we just got to get it level. Right there. Perfect. That lines up just shy of 20 inches, which is exactly what we were looking for. Come over here. I'll mark that up at the 20. Right there. Yeah. So we got those on there. Let's go ahead and get this mocked up with the ladder bars on it. We can finalize their positions and put some more tacks on them. So what I have to do is I have to make sure that these ends end up in the same exact spot when these ends are in the same exact spot. I have put together these bolts here to hold the ends in location to each other. I went through and I counted all the threads in here, made sure they were all exactly the same on either side of this adjuster and those guys there. I had to adjust this in order to make these line up correctly. So now I've measured my points. It seems to be that these things are perfectly the same as far as the adjustment goes on them. Okay, so we've learned a few things here, which is the top of this isn't level. Not even close. But when I measure the tubes, they both come out the same on either side, which is 0.7 degrees up. And when we move this here and measure it, we're at 0.7 this side up. Same as when we measure the tubes. And if I come down here, measure across my eyes, because I can't trust these are the same spot on either thing, I'm more concerned with the mounting points being level, which as you can see is between 0.7 and 0.8. So very, very close. Now let me just double check. Before I go making any adjustments to the length of the ladder bar, let me double check this angle. We got 87 degrees top down, 87 top down. So I know those two match each other perfectly. Now what I need to do is make sure they're sticking straight forward. I don't want to weld these tabs on and have the front not be straight. And then when I put my mounts on the frame at the correct distance apart, me having to bend them in to stick them in or something. That's not what I'm trying to accomplish. So let's make sure these are straight. First things first, let's go from here to the housing end. Let's see what we're looking at. 32.5. Yeah, they look good. Yeah, it totally opened up here, which is expected. And it's still opening because it's cooling. That was ugly. Damn, that's loud and obnoxious. All right. That's what we made these for, but I measured wrong. Didn't account for certain things. so not quite where it needs to be, but we'll get it there. I've been using these for spacers, so that'll be perfect right there. Alright, so what I've done here is I've built a fixture, which basically means I took two pieces of 2x3 16 gauge because it's not very thick, and I've welded them together to make it, you know, twice as strong theoretically. So that's there to kind of keep this thing from shrinking, because when we weld these brackets on, it's going to want to bend these tubes forward as it cools. So I've put a support here to keep this from wanting to move down, and I put a support out here and welded it to it to keep the, oops, still hot. To keep this from coming up or down or moving around at all, actually. So it's locked in pretty tight. I'm sure it's still going to do a little bit of pulling, and when we cut the braces loose, it might spring back, but we'll find out when we get there. All right, so that's probably a good place to stop for now. Video should be somewhere in the 20-minute range. It's about as long as I like to make them. I don't want them any longer than that. So check back soon, very soon, for part 2. The job's clearly already been done, so now it's just a matter of how fast I can get through 8 to 10 hours of footage to do the editing. So when I say I filmed the whole process, I filmed the whole process. So anyway, we finally got something done. That welder not working really held me back from moving forward on this truck. It really really had me doubting my skills. It really had me thinking I might be losing it as I'm getting older. I just went through the whole gamut of emotions on that one, thinking I would never be able to properly weld. And judging from this housing, I still can't properly weld, but I can stick metal together in a structural fashion, which we did figure out from doing a little practice. So the thing you didn't mention in the video is I practiced my welding for over an hour on materials of the same thicknesses, and then cutting those welds apart and inspecting them and trying to break them and whatnot until I knew I had it structurally sound and was getting a real good bond between the metals. Anyway, thanks a bunch for watching. I really do appreciate it. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one. And until then, take care of yourselves.